What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. So I got one here by Manosphere Daily Highlights. And yeah, this is a Twilight Zone episode. So we're gonna see how the female regret is back in the day. So let's get into this video.
This is the face of terror. Anne Marie Henderson, 18 years of age, her young existence suddenly marred by a savage and wholly unanticipated pursuit by a strange, nightmarish figure of a woman in black.
You've probably heard this eerie tune before.
Twilight Zone.
Yes, for this Red Pill review, we're not just stepping into the Twilight Zone. We're stepping back 60 years to when this episode first aired. Society was different, and black and white movies just have that creepy edge, which makes this episode pure gold to review from a Red Pill perspective. Because let me tell you, this episode doesn't pull any punches, and 60 years later, it only hits harder. Big shout out to Patreon gang member Mr. Jerry for requesting this video. Appreciate the support, brother. Salute! Quick note, to give you the best experience without copyright interruptions, our full uncut content is available on Patreon. So if you enjoy our content and want the full experience, support us on Patreon. Patreon gang, salute! Spoiler alert! This video contains spoilers, so you've been warned.
Ain't that a man?
Meet our main protagonist, 18-year-old Anne Marie Henderson, young, innocent, and in love. But her life takes a chilling turn when she's suddenly pursued by a terrifying, nightmarish woman dressed in black. An ominous figure who appears out of nowhere, chases her, then stops and watches in eerie silence. Rod Serling sets the tone perfectly.
Miss Henderson has no idea whatever as to the motive for this pursuit. Worse, not the vaguest notion regarding the identity of her pursuer. Soon enough, she will be given the solution to this twofold mystery, but in a manner far beyond her present capacity to understand.
This is pure gold. Anne, terrified, rushes home. There she finds comfort with her parents and her fiancé, Robert, aka Mr. Nice Guy. They try to rationalize what happened, but Bob makes a joke.
I don't know where she came from.
Maybe it was a warning, eh?
A warning?
You sure you're telling us everything? You sure she wasn't carrying a sign in her hand that read, "Cancel that engagement party, don't marry that investment broker, yours truly, Faith"?
That's not funny, Bob.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I was only trying to cheer you up.
Funny, right? Well, things get even more interesting when the doorbell rings.
Wiped out.
And a familiar voice stirs up tension at the door.
That sounds like...
find this exceedingly
All I want to do is talk to her first. I don't care about that. I want to talk to her first.
Someone's here. Someone everyone has a problem with, except for Anne.
Yep, Chad.
It's not too late, Anne.
David, please.
Enter David. This guy is the 1960s version of the bad boy Chad. From the moment he steps in, he brings drama. The kind of drama that puts a woman at the center of attention. And guess what? That's exactly why Anne is drawn to him.
I'm not through yet.
You're through.
Anne, please. Anne.
David, please.
Hold steady, Mr. Mitchell.
They don't make punch sound effects like this anymore. Pure gold. Women don't fall for bad boys because they're good men. They fall for them because they make life exciting.
Yep, and you see, wow, back in the day, same thing, the nature of women, you're like, and 18-year-old Anne. So, and of course, we kind of know how this is gonna happen since this is a female regret, and yeah, she's gonna probably go hang out with Chad because Chad is so exciting, so scary, so great, so crazy. So yeah. So we're going to see how the fall is going to happen. And that's what that warning is. But even if, the older Ann tells younger Ann, like, don't, marry this guy, it's too late. It's still going to be too late because women are going to do what they're going to do. Usually not all, but in this case, yeah, she's going to probably marry Chad.
They stir emotions. They break the rules. Think about it. Which movie would you rather watch? David, the obedient good boy, patiently waiting for permission to date Anne. Or David, the reckless lover, fighting for Anne and stealing her away. The second option is way more compelling. That's the nature of female attraction. Women are wired to seek out men who disrupt their world. The bad boy represents adventure, passion, unpredictability. Meanwhile, Robert, the responsible, stable, predictable fiance, is boring. But here's the twist. David isn't just trying to hook up. He's actually proposing marriage. A bad boy trying to wife up a woman.
It's been 2 years since that disaster struck. The city's population is now sparse. In an effort to escape the monsters, you've...
Please, Anne, please marry me. We always knew we'd be married. Even when we were kids, we knew it. You belong with me, Anne. You please don't.
That tells you how much society has changed. But if you're Anne's father, what do you do about a guy like David?
Yeah.
I came to see Anne.
She doesn't care to see you.
You making all her decisions now? Don't let your father force you into this. Don't make this mistake with your life. Break your engagement.
I think you will go now. Don't think for a moment that I won't use this.
In 1939, a father had real authority over his daughter's marriage. He wasn't just a provider, he was the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And Anne's father, he saw right through David. Why? Because he has wisdom. He has life experience. He knows that love isn't enough. And on the other hand, she's been spoiled her whole life. She never had to earn anything, never had to struggle. And because of that, she lacks social judgment. This is the core of the generational divide. Anne's father, raised in hard times, values stability, knows love fades. Anne, raised in comfort, values romance, thinks love conquers all, and ignores her father's warnings. She thinks he's just being overprotective. She thinks she knows better, so she rebels.
Anne, my Anne, I love you. I love you. Come
And you see this crap right here. Yep, good old Chad, you know. And yeah, you're going to see how, crazy and how, bad her life is going to be. Because, that warning side of that older Anne and that, black, wicked, witch of the East kind of look. Yeah, you're going to kind of see where this is going to go. So, oh, man. So let's continue.
away with me.
Now, David, I want to.
Now, Anne, now. Decide. There's no more time.
Oh, David, you are my true love, my adored one. Make me happy. Please make me happy.
I will.
This is exactly what happened with feminism. The very men who built society, who made the world safe and comfortable for women, ended up raising daughters who never experienced hardship. And what did these daughters do? They rejected the rules that built that safety. Anne marries for love, not stability. Just like modern women chase passion over practicality. But guess what? Passion doesn't pay the bills. And Anne, she's about to learn that the hard way.
Daddy? Oh, dear, I thought that was all ended. Well, it is, Mother. I didn't...
Anne.
Now, Anne, you keep away from him.
I don't care about that. I want to talk to him.
This is not very nice for either of us, sir.
I will, Mother.
Let's talk about Anne's mother. There's a powerful scene where Anne slaps her own mom for defending her father.
I won't hear you debase his memory. Debase his memory? How cornball can you get?
This isn't just about disrespect. It's about a complete rejection of tradition. Anne's mother was raised to be a wife. In her time, fathers gave their blessings and daughters honored their husbands. Marriage was pragmatic, not a romantic fantasy. But Anne, she despises her mother's submission. She looks down on the fact that her mother allowed her husband to lead. And yet, older Anne is now the one trying to warn her younger self.
I was warning myself not to marry the wrong man. But I married him anyway, didn't I? And now I have paid the price. I have become that grotesque phantom that frightened that poor, childlike girl half to death 25 years ago.
See the irony? The same women who rejected tradition are now miserable because of it. Research shows that since the 1960s, women's happiness has been steadily declining. More freedom, more options, and yet they're less happy and more disrespectful. Anne was never going to be happy, no matter who she married. If she married Robert, she'd be miserable because she didn't love him. If she married David, she'd be miserable because he couldn't provide. And that's exactly what happens.
So you see, the wall, as in chapter 5, wall is undefeated, and you're just like, yep. Since the 70s, I think even started back in the days, even in like what, 1912 or 18, even the movement was kind of going. So yeah, the first wave was, just a right to vote. But then like the third, fourth wave, it's like, we don't need men. We don't. They're just like useless bums. But, this is where we're at now. And yeah, that gave us a sign, but it is what it is today. And it's really bad now. It's going to get worse. I don't think it's going to get better.
A sterile, alcoholic phantom, married to a man who's run this estate into ruin. Only I had known I was being warned.
Warned about what?
Fast forward, Anne is now older, bitter, and broken. The rebellious girl who once ran off for love is now a woman who has seen the cost of her choices. David still loves her. He reminds her of their runaway love story, how they defied everything to be together. He looks at her like he did in 1939, hoping she'll remember, hoping she'll feel something. But Anne,
I love you. I love you. Come away with me. Your old daddy's gone and buried. I'm the man of the house now.
Man.
she laughs in his face because now love isn't enough. David says, I am the man of this house. Anne laughs because she knows he isn't. She doesn't respect him. Not anymore. Maybe she never truly did. This is the cold reality of female nature. Women love opportunistically. As long as David was exciting, as long as he was a thrill, as long as he could lead, he was the one. But once he couldn't provide, once he became weak, her love vanished. This is why women lose respect for weak men. This is why they divorce men who struggle financially. This is why they warn younger women about their past mistakes. But instead of telling them to choose wisely, they simply tell them to avoid the wrong men. Because deep down, they know the truth. Anne knows she wasted her youth chasing passion instead of stability. Modern post-war women also know. But instead of telling younger women to pick the good man, they simply tell them to avoid the bad ones. Why? Because women keep women single. Because they are bitter. Because they still want to compete. Because admitting the truth means admitting they were wrong. The wall is undefeated.
And the thing is, yeah, a lot of the times, a lot of the chicks, I'm like trying to think back, how many actually says, I'm sorry? Not a lot. Not a lot of chicks in the past says, I'm sorry, I screwed up. I'm sorry. How many? Yeah. I receive more apologies from men than women, just per se. Just in my general consensus when I just like, if they do something. So, yeah.
And that brings us back to Rod Serling's final words.
This is the face of terror. Anne-Marie Mitchell, 43 years of age. Her desolate existence once more afflicted by the hope of altering her past mistake. A hope which is unfortunately doomed to disappointment. For warnings from the future to the past must be taken in the past. Today may change tomorrow, but once today is gone, tomorrow can only look back in sorrow that the warning was ignored. Said warning as of now stamped not accepted and stored away in the dead file in the recording office of the Twilight Zone.
For warnings from the future to the past must be taken in the past. Today may change tomorrow, but once the day is gone, tomorrow can only look back in sorrow that the warning was ignored. And that's exactly where we are today. Older women know the truth, but younger women, they don't listen. They repeat the same mistakes, chasing romance, rejecting tradition, and ending up alone. And by the time they realize it, it's too late. The wall always wins. Fellas, stay sharp, stay focused, and as always, manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.
Yeah, so even back then, yeah, they've been trying to tell women like, okay, come on, marry young, because that's the thing, once you hit 35, phew, your ability to produce kids is, really low. And yeah, so that's the thing. That's why men look for younger women for, mostly to reproduce. Because when we deal with somebody older, like 35, unless you don't want kids, that's fine. But if you want kids, yeah, they're just like, nope, not dealing with this. And that's just the way it goes. So, yeah. All right. So if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next